If you don't like what you're doing, make a change.
Yep.
And then
Very
a
simple.
lot of people say, well, I can't do that. You can do it. Anything you want, you can do. You just have to apply yourself to do it.
Yeah.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I didn't choose to be an alcoholic. I became an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I chose not to drink again. What are we going to talk about?
Shoot, I don't know. Whatever.
What's got here? I'll do it. I'll start it.
Talk about.
I'll,
He's got it handled.
I'll lead this thing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Zach, what's your role in this?
Well, I'm the filmmaker, so I got the cameras running.
Okay.
I got this running.
Turn them on.
They're
me.
on. They're on.
They're on. They're
I'm
going the
ahead
whole
of you.
time.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, welcome to Help Educate Me. My name is Doug McCarty. I am coming across to Nashville right now, and I am in a place that you will not believe. We're in a Airbnb, correct?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what you guys
Yes,
did? You
sir.
turned this Airbnb? If you come to Nashville and you are a podcaster or you are a YouTuber, you cannot get away from coming to this place. It's all set up for you. You can go downtown, shoot your film, come back out here, bring some friends with you, talk about what you did, edit everything, upload it in the same place, stay the night, get out of here, you're done. This place is awesome. I've never seen a place this fantastic. And now I'm sitting here with three guys that are running this place. And I got Matt on my left. I got
Joshua.
Joshua in front of me, and I got Zach, the engineer, across from me. Tell me, guys, how you guys got into this? How'd you end up doing this?
Well, I've been in Nashville for a few years. I'm a structural engineer by trade. And once COVID hit, I had this land and wanted to build on it, just do what pretty much everybody, it feels like, does around here in Nashville is I want to build short-term rentals. I want to rent them out. And so that was my brilliant idea at the time, follow the herd, so to speak, right? And so I built them, got my GC license, became the contractor, structural engineer, the whole nine, hired my own crews, built them. Well, over the period that it took to build these, interest rates started changing and the supply of short-term rentals in Nashville had skyrocketed. So lots of competition. But Doug, I know you always say there is no competition.
There isn't.
And
You're
so,
your only competition, man.
Exactly. And so I was thinking, I had these listed as normal Airbnbs and all of that, and just following everybody else. I guess I was competing with everybody else. And I knew right away something in my gut was telling me, you're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to do something that nobody else is doing. And at that time, I had been doing a podcast for about a year. My business partner, Joshua, got me onto it. He's been doing it for a couple years himself.
Nice.
And we had one of these units. I was just like, hey, why don't we turn one of the bedrooms into a podcast studio? Like, we love shooting podcasts. We can do our own content here, and we can also share that with the world, share it with other people, because podcasts themselves are just blowing up. And doing the research on something like this, I haven't seen a short-term rental podcast studio mix yet.
Right. And the great thing about this, so you guys, I'm going to paint a picture for you. So if you can't see this, so we're sitting in a 12 by 14 room, and all the walls are lined with cloth. The audio is perfect. We've got a Rode Stratocaster in front of us. The information is taken care of, and we got a great table. We got cameras on each side of us, And everything is just absolutely set up perfect. You can come in here, no worries, bring your own engineer, or they'll supply you with an engineer. They're working on supplying you with an engineer. But we're going to get there, and it's just amazing on how this is set up. So if I would have thought of this 15 years ago, I would have, but I didn't. So kudos to you.
But I appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun so far. Just the thing, I think the turning point for us was Joshua and I and Zach, we do men's events.
Okay.
So we spend a lot of time helping men make breakthroughs in their lives. And we were doing an event up in the Poconos in eastern Pennsylvania. And the work that was going on was going great. It was a financial part of it. And you could tell that a lot of the guys just weren't there yet in their financial reality.
Yep.
And so everything that was getting thrown at them kind of just went over their heads. And we're just like, okay, this isn't adding value to them. How about let's take them down to the basement where there was a podcast studio. Let's just shoot some podcasts. And it was the most incredible, beautiful thing I have ever seen, because the guys, they put the headphones on, they get in front of the mics, but you can tell their voice is a little shaky. They're just saying things like, I don't know. I haven't been on.
I've never been on one.
I haven't been on one of these before. Just totally just timid. The guys didn't really know each other, and Zach led that session. And we have a deck of cards with us. The game is called How Deep Will You Go? And it just asks questions that you normally aren't asked. And you can go different levels. There's like level 1, level 2, level 3 deepness. And so Zach just asked them a question or two. And within a few minutes, they started to loosen up. Some guys started to talk about their service in Iraq. Other guys started cracking jokes. And within 15 to 20 minutes, it's like they had been friends for 15, 20 years.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing about it, because the microphone isn't even here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's just four guys having a conversation.
Right.
That's all it is. I mean, guys in that situation, coming up through the ranks of AA and getting sober in 1995, I understand the situation. So when you do that, you just tell them, hey, look, it didn't take you that long to get in the cop car. Just start talking. So that's all it is. That's the process behind it. We just have to figure out who we are and what we are and how we can relate it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
once we understand who we are and how we can relate to others, life gets so much better, because the one thing we all know is the truth is the most funniest thing on the planet. Because if we go against the truth and we make up a story, it's not as funny as the truth.
Right.
And the best thing about the truth is you never have to remember what you say,
That's right.
Yeah.
because you don't have to worry about whether I told him this and it gets back to you, and then you come to me and you told him this, and I go, did I? Okay.
Truth is core. Yeah.
The truth is core.
Yep.
You never have to remember.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that till about 8 years sober.
Yeah.
And once I finally got that and started to understand the process of AA and what AA is, and AA isn't about not drinking, AA is about helping the guy that's coming in today.
Yeah.
And it's about making him understand, hey, look, life isn't as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
We can get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what, the men's health program, all that kind of stuff. We have so much understanding and so much to give to everybody else.
Yeah.
That you never have to worry about your life once you understand who you are,
That's right.
because you'll give out as much as you can and you'll get 10 times of that back.
The
100%.
crazy part is that most men feel like they're islands, right?
Yeah.
They feel like they're all their emotions, all the problems, all the hurt they feel inside, the suffering. They feel like only they have ever felt this. That's how I felt for most of my adolescence and through my early 20s and 30s. I thought, I'm broken. Like, there's no fixing this guy.
Right.
And then I realized that it wasn't the case. And I was like, holy shit. So you're telling me everybody has these same fears?
Yeah.
And once that reality came out, I'm like, so I'm not an island. I'm not broken. This is this is the normal masculine journey.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell am I wasting my life worrying about that crap for? Right.
Yeah.
But not many get the opportunity to have conversations like that.
I know it. That's the sad part about it. So that's the reason why when I introduce myself to most of the people, depending on the situation I'm in, people that were coming into AA and all that, I don't tell them my story right away. People that have never been in AA or higher ups and all these things, I tell them exactly where I came from,
Yeah.
because that's who defines me.
Yeah.
And that's where I came from. And now I am who I am because of what I did.
Yeah.
So the shame is no longer there.
Yeah.
I mean, the shame is in the story because, hey, if you don't like me for that, then you're the judgmental person and I don't need to be with you anyway.
Exactly.
So let's move on and let's go somewhere else. I'll find somebody that's more interesting.
That's right.
So if you close your mind to me, I don't have to worry about it because that's your problem, not mine. And I can move on to the person who actually wants to give a shit.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. People aren't going to change unless they want to. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, you can't change them.
No.
My old mentor used to say you can't push a wet noodle.
Nope.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Oh, he had a lot of those. I love those sayings.
No, I know. There's a lot of them out there. I can probably get into some pretty deep ones, but they're not really made for YouTube.
I love that. I love that.
No, I absolutely love it. But yeah, getting back into, so when you got into this business, we had a long conversation, Matt and I did, prior to me coming out here. So I drove over today a couple hours to come see this because he had this open house and he talked about this podcast studio. So I really got interested in that part of it. But we had a long talk of how he purchased this property, how he built the property, and how with the economy, how it went, because he asked me what I would pay for this property. And when I told him the price that I'm willing to pay for this property, his mouth about hit the floor and I could see it through the phone.
It was that obvious.
It was that obvious because what he paid for the property and what I'm willing to pay for it is about half
Yeah.
because that's what it's worth in rent.
Correct.
So that's what I would have to pay to make it work for me.
Correct.
And so now he has to figure out a way to make this thing work in the situation that we're in between the economy and where interest rates are. And he doesn't want to give up his lower interest rate because that would just screw everything. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring awareness to different things that we can do. So when I was in the Airbnb business, so-called, I did the concierge business behind every piece of property that I had. So I turned my units into retail stores. I turned my units into concierge. So if I had, let's say I had one in here in Nashville, I had season tickets to the Titans, or I had season tickets to every concert that was there. If you rented my unit, you got first right to those tickets.
Yep.
So then I could rent my units for a premium, sell them for ticket price.
What they were. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'd get a great deal out of it because that's what they thought. But they're paying double the price for my unit. So I'm making more money on that side.
Correct.
And then if they had 10 people with them, I would source out more tickets for them. And then if they wanted to, they didn't want to go down on Broadway that night because they were all half drunk or whatever the scenario was, I could bring a private chef into the place. And then I would charge for that. And they'd all have sit down with dinner, and the guy would cook for them all right on the spot and talk to them about how they were cooking it and what they were doing, what kind of meals you like, what do you want in yours, what do you want in yours. And it would be a family great gathering. And then I'd bring a waitress in on the side to serve them drinks just like they were at the restaurant, but they were in their place of comfort.
Yeah.
And it just made them feel at home, which in turn, if you create a home away from home, where would they want to go?
Yep.
So that's what my theory behind hospitality is.
Exactly. It was a hospitality business that happened to own the property and use, whether it's Airbnb, Vrbo, your direct booking site, whatever format, or if it's just a handshake and a check,
Yeah.
But yeah, you weren't in what a lot of, and I'll talk for myself as an investor. A lot of investors think, okay, I own the property. Now I'm a property owner that happens to furnish and rent it through Airbnb.
Correct.
Well, what people don't realize, and you helped me realize this, is that, well, now you're an employee of Airbnb.
Yep.
Because anytime they have a rule policy change or anything like that, who gets affected?
Yep.
They don't care about. Yes, they use the properties, but they're just a booking platform. They don't care about the homeowner. They care about the clients that are coming in and spending their money.
The property owner is not the asset of Airbnb.
Exactly.
The client spending the money is.
Correct.
You are only the facilitator of their cash.
Yes, exactly. And so by you not even having in your mind, I'm an Airbnb employee, which a lot of us don't even realize. But you're saying, hey, I have a concierge business. I have an experience business where people can come in and experience, like you said, a lot of these families do one time a year trip, come down from Green Bay to see their Packers play the Titans or whatever. And this is their one trip of the year.
Yep.
And they splurge
Like
as they
crazy.
should.
Yep.
They've worked all year for that money, but you're lining everything up for them, from the Uber rides
Yep.
to
Everything.
the cooking. I know you also provided bottles of wine in case they
Yeah.
wanted to become wine members. All these like
We had a wine subscription, so I had a wine subscription company that I put 4 bottles of wine on there. They could buy each bottle for $10 a bottle, but if they signed up for their wine subscription for a year subscription, they got all 4 bottles for free.
Nice. It's good
So-
incentive, yeah.
So I made $129 every time somebody signed up, and then it was reoccurring.
Wow.
So I had 13,250 people reoccurring every single year at $129 a pop.
Wow.
All for something you don't have to manage.
All I have to do is have the person who cleans it set out another 4 bottles if those are empty.
Yeah.
And then they scan the little
brilliant.
QR code in front of it, and
brilliant.
it sends them right to the website.
It's brilliant.
And that's it. But I mean, the key to success is understanding who you are and your abilities. If you are not a hospitality person, then just be the butts in bed person and be happy with the money that you can or cannot get. But if you are a hospitality person, there is no end to the money you can make.
yeah.
I mean, absolutely no end,
Yeah.
because there are so many services out there. And the key to behind that service is the data that I collect. So that person that came down from
Yeah.
Green Bay to stay with you a second time, you can look into your notes and say, okay, you guys had a birthday party that weekend. I got you all this kind of stuff. Your husband went and played golf. I know he plays Titleist golf balls. I know he has a size 10 shoe, and I know he likes medium to hard courses. So I've set you up a golf course to go play if you guys want to go play it. It's 6,900 yards. It's not a tough course. It's not an easy course. And I've got everything set up. I can rent clubs for you. I know what clubs you hit. I know you hit Titleist irons. I know you hit Cleveland Woods. And I know you hit Titleist wedges. And I know you like Scotty Cameron putters. I'll make sure all that's in the bag for you right now. That's the information that's beyond anything. You want to be able to give them anything that they don't even think they know they want.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they sign for it, and I send them a bill at the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Ritz-Carlton on crack.
It's a country club.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, if you've ever been to a country club, you don't pay for anything. You just signature.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the end of the month, they send you a bill with all your signatures. And then you don't have a choice but to pay it.
I like it.
I never want it, because 2 things are go into a factor in this. Okay, I do take advantage of certain situations, and those situations are kids and families. Okay, because they'll do anything to make them kids happy, and if they're signing for it, they're going to spend more.
Yeah.
Yeah. The credit card business. It's just like the credit card business.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. And that's kind of how I built my back off of all these units that I had at one point, and I got out of it because I kind of saw the writing on the wall after COVID, and I said, all right, this isn't good. The world's going in a different arena, and this is going to be recession number 3 that I'm going through. And what do you do before a recession? You cash out,
Yeah.
and then you buy it all back during the recession.
Yeah, that's one thing, because I know you've been through a few recessions throughout your career, and it's almost like I was thinking about you the other day, and I was like, man, Doug he can tell the future, like he can see into the future, but really it's just you've seen it and you're paying attention.
Yeah, that's the key.
You're not staying distracted by this or that. Like you're keeping a pulse, and yeah, okay, it's one of those things where you do this enough times, it's kind of like, okay, well, it's time to do this. There's a season for everything, right?
Yep.
Yep.
You're not going to shovel snow in the summer.
No,
Right?
No, that's why I'm moving further south. I don't ever want to show. I don't want to see. I moved down to Tennessee. They hadn't seen snow in like 3 years, maybe a half an inch, and then I moved down here. Each season, I think we've seen 4 and 5 inches of snow, and I'm like, Jesus, what do I got to do to get rid of this?
Yeah.
So now I'm moving to Louisiana, and hopefully I don't ever see it again. I'm okay with that.
Nice.
I'll fly home. if I
We'd
wanna
have
see
more
it.
problems if you start seeing it down there than,
Yeah.
than just the snow itself.
Who knows where the world's going to?
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the key to this. And again, I can't reiterate how cool this place is. You guys have done an amazing job. I really hope it takes off. We've talked about adding an engineer to this process. We've talked about adding different cameras to the places, adding an automatic switchboard to where they can just come in and hit it, and it automatically, the Mevo camera system,
Sure.
where it just automatically flips when somebody's talking.
Yeah.
So that way it can be kind of automated, and then setting up the editing booth in the corner so that way they can edit and send right in the same spot. They don't have to break their laptop out or whatever else.
Sure.
Get them a nice big 49-inch
Yeah.
curved monitor so they
Ooh.
can get everything going.
That'd be pretty
You're
sick.
talking to me now.
Yeah,
He's looking at you now.
I should bring up my Amazon list that I
Yeah.
just bought for my studio.
Oh shoot.
Oh, it's crazy.
I bet.
I got it all sitting in my garage because I
Yeah.
I ordered everything and bought everything, and I built this really, really nice studio in my shop in Tennessee, and got everything done. And then me and Michelle said, "Yeah, you know what? Let's move."
That's what.
And I'm like, "Oh shit! Now I got to build a new studio."
Wow.
So
Funny.
that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Do you mind digging into your background a little bit more, like your story and like?
Sure, absolutely. So let's go back to. I don't know how far you want to go back, but I started drinking about when I was 13.
Okay. Yeah.
It was just a common thing because I'm 54 years old.
Yeah.
Back in our days, you run and get your dad a beer, and your treat was a sip. That's kind of how it went. And you work out in the fields or you work out in the garden, and you get all your work done for your day. Your treat was a half a beer.
Makes sense.
And that's kind of how I got started. In 13, 14, 15 years old, I started drinking a little bit more, sneaking a few beers because my dad always had a keg on tap at the house, and we always had cans of beer in every fridge at the cabin. And when we went to the cabin, Friday we'd get there and we'd get all our chores done, and we didn't have to report back until Sunday when we left.
Oh wow.
So that was our system because we didn't have to worry about kids getting kidnapped and all that other kind of stuff. We were either on the lake or in the boat skiing, and that was the one great thing about my parents. We weren't rich by any means, but we were very rich in family aspect. So we got everything that we wanted that way.
Yeah.
And so every time I wanted to go skiing or something like that, my dad was in the middle of doing shit. I'm like, Dad, can we go skiing? All right, let me finish up doing what I'm doing here. 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then he'd get in the boat and take us skiing. And then we'd be done, and then we'd go back to doing all of our own stuff. And, we'd end up partying a little bit. My parents partied. They had square dance. They had pinochle club. They had all these kinds of different parties, and all their friends came over and drank beer and drank wine and everything else. So it was kind of the norm.
Sure.
So by the time I was a sophomore in high school, I was probably drinking 5-6 days a week and getting pretty hammered.
Oh wow.
And then when I went off to college, that's when I honed my craft.
Yeah.
Really started getting hammered, and drank my ass out of college, and then started getting my DUIs. So by the time I was 21, I already had 2 DUIs, and then 23, I got 1 more, and then 24, I got 4 and 5 a week apart, and then 20, 24, 25, right at the beginning of 25, my 25th birthday, I got 6 and 7.
Oh wow.
And my last little stint, they turned 4 and 5 into 3, and then or 4, and then they turned 5 and 6 into 5. So because I got them so close to one another, and ended up getting a felony because 5 and 6, I was driving on a revoked license for 15 years, so I got a felony on that, and then I got sober right after that. So I got I checked into AA. I came upstairs after my last night out and saw my dad sitting at the kitchen table, and he goes, well, if you're here, that means two things. You don't remember where you live, or you were so hammered last night you thought you still lived here. I'm like, yeah, I think I need some help. And he goes, I think you need some help too. So that's when I checked into AA.
Yeah.
And then from there on, it just, life kind of got easy. And then I started understanding who I am and what I am, and knowing that I just knew at that point I just couldn't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at, 15 years in prison from that last DUI. And they gave me 364 days in county jail. And I think I spent 4 months. And then I got out on work